Hey guys, it's Tahira, and I know it's been a very long time. I haven't made a video since November because of school and finals and stuff, but now I'm finally getting the time after a few weeks to finally film a video, and today I'm going to be doing my favorite books of 2017. Yes, I know it's like January 20th. It is a bit late, but better late than never, right? So today I'm going to be talking about 7 books that I really enjoyed and were my favorites of 2017. So the first book on my list is A List of Cages by Robin Rowe. This book, I was not expecting to like it as much as I did, and I went into this book with no expectations and I was completely blown away by it. This book follows one of the main characters, Adam Blake, who is a senior in high school, and one of his electives is being the assistant to the school psychologist. Now one day the school psychologist sends out to find this boy named Julian who keeps missing his appointments to meet with the school psychologist, and he goes to Julian and he finds out that Julian is actually his foster brother from 5 years ago. Adam and Julian are reunited after 5 years and their beautiful friendship forms, and it's so nice to see that. Adam takes him in like they've never been apart, and their relationship grows, and it's so beautiful and I love it so much. I will put a trigger warning on this for child abuse, and it's in this novel, and yeah, it's graphic at times, but this book is amazing. If you haven't read it, you definitely should. If you're able to, I will highly recommend this. The second book on my list for my favorite books of 2017 is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. This is the third and final book to the A Court of Thorns and Roses series by her, and this was it was satisfying and unsatisfying at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I liked this book, and I actually have a review on it, so if you're interested in that, I'll link it down below. But overall, I actually really liked this book. I liked it more than A Court of Mist and Fury in a bunch of different terms, and again, if you want to know more of my thoughts, the link will be in this description to my review. But overall, I really liked this book. So, the third book, which is probably the top one or two favorite, the top one of my favorite books of 2017, is Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. Lord of Shadows is the second book to the Dark Artifices series, with the first book being Lady Midnight, and it's part of the Shadowhunter Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, which is a big series. You'll all know it: City of Bones, City of Ashes, The Whole Mortal Instruments, and The Infernal Devices. A lot of people love it, and she's one of my favorite authors. I think this is one of her best books so far. It's just so much more complex than any of her other series, and the writing has gotten so much better. This book is heartbreaking in some ways, but it's totally worth it, and I absolutely cannot wait for the next book coming out in December. The fourth book I'm going to be talking about on this list is The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. The Hate U Give is very important to our time today. The Hate U Give follows 16-year-old Star Carter, who lives in a poor neighborhood, and one day she's in a car with her best friend Khalil, and she watches her best friend Khalil murdered by a police officer. This death is on national headlines and it's all over the news, and she is the sole witness to this, so she has to talk about it, and her neighborhood kind of becomes like this war zone where everyone's asking her what happened, and she is the sole witness, so all eyes are on her. But this book, it talks about so many important things like the Black Lives Matter movement and police brutality and stuff that's actually going on in this world, and I think this is such a relevant novel. I absolutely give it an immediate 5 out of 5 stars. I was so excited about this book because I had never read anything like it, and it was one of the first novel, and I'm so excited for her new book that's coming out on the come up, and I think that's going to be just as great as this one. The next book I'm going to be talking about is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. I went into this book not knowing how I would feel about it because it wasn't something I usually read, but I went in and I was again so blown away because it's just so good. The Gentleman's Guide follows the main character Henry Montague, and he is basically this very reckless person who gets he spends nights drunk and wakes up in the arms of people he doesn't know, and it's just a reckless life, and he's bred to be a gentleman, so of course he's disapproved by his father. And then he goes on his grand tour of Europe as he's in love with his best friend Percy, and he goes with also his sister Felicity. And then one thing happens and he steals something from somewhere, and it turns into this big chase, but like one of the main things I love about this book is that the main character is absolutely hilarious, and I loved the narration of this book. I'm so excited for the second book that's coming out. I don't know the title, but it follows his sister Felicity, and I'm so excited for that because I know it's gonna be just as great as this one. The second to last book I'm gonna be talking about on this list is Warcross by Marie Lu. Warcross is it follows this in a world where there's a video game called Warcross, which everyone's obsessed with, and it's kind of like this multiplayer game, kind of like World of Warcraft. This book follows the main character, Emika Chen, who is a bounty hunter, which means her job is to get people who illegally play the game. Then one day she's trying to do something and she actually glitches herself into the game, which causes this huge frenzy, and she thinks she's gonna be arrested, but the creator of Warcross actually calls her over to Tokyo to ask her to help him find this security problem in the game. Now she's in the game, she's part of a team, and it follows this whole journey of how she goes into Warcross and how she's trying to find the security glitch that's happening with the game. But I, again, love this book so much. I loved the video game aspect of this because I do play World of Warcraft, and I could relate so much to the gaming aspect of this book, and I hadn't read anything like it. I know Ready Player One is kind of like this, and I hadn't read it, but so this was something new to me, and I had so much fun reading it. So on the note of Warcross, the very last book on this list is like related to Warcross, and I think Warcross is a bit inspired by this book, and that is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This book is set in the year 2044, which is in the future, but it's actually not that much into the future. It's only like a decade, or I guess 2 to 3 decades away, which is not that much. And basically reality is a very ugly place, and people use this game called Oasis to kind of escape that reality. The story follows the main character Wade Watts as he is trying to find a clue, and the clue is all connected to this thing that the creator of Oasis has died, and he has left his will, his like $1 billion of will, in a treasure hunt game. Whoever finds the treasure with the help of these clues will get his fortune, which is like $240 billion, I think. Yeah. So it's been several years and no one has found a clue, and the whole treasure hunt thing has kind of died down, but then the main character Wade Watts finds the first clue and the game has come up again, and people are fighting each other to find the rest of the clues to win the will prize. Anyway, this book is filled with a lot of 80s references, which obviously I didn't get because I was not born in the 80s. I'm 15 years old, but if you are born in the 80s or you lived during that time, you will highly enjoy this book because you will get all the references. It's such a, I don't know how to explain it. I loved reading this book. It was so fun. I loved the video game aspect, as I loved the video game aspect in Warcross. It was cool to read about the world and the repercussions of always being in this virtual reality and how that can connect to our real reality. Just if you like Warcross and if you like video games, then you'll like this book basically. So that is it for my favorite books of 2017. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know this short, it's actually very, I read a lot of good books, but it's actually hard for a book to be like a favorite of mine. So that's why this list is so short. Again, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!